You know the drill for Texas OU week. Get the OU out of my last name. Let's put the UT in. Nothing beats the lead into this weekend at the Cotton Bowl, and the Texas players are already feeling the juice of Texas OU.
Ballou OU. That's a first. That was brilliant, my friend. That was brilliant. So it's Bob Ballou UT.
I think you can still. It's like you can kind of pronounce it like it's French and just it's still Ballou. Like the T is silent and it's just Ballou. Yeah, there's a real. It's been a real disappointment all my life because my parents went to Texas. I grew up bleeding burnt orange, and then I've got the OU in my last name. So we try to at least for this week kick it out, put UT in, have some fun with it.
Hardge, you got to capitalize the O and the U in Bob's name this week. I mean, no judgment. It is what it is.
Well, the thing about it was I would have never even pointed it out. I would have never even thought about it. But now that he's done that, now I'm a little disappointed that is your last name, Bobby B.
You know how like all OU fans obviously will do a lot of horns down this week, but it's always fun to see Texas people take the OU symbol and turn it upside down because doesn't that spell no? Like, and then you're just like, yeah, it was 49 to no. That's the score last year.
Brilliant. I love it. Hey, this is what's hard to imagine. This rivalry, this is the 119th version of this, and it never gets old. There's so many stories. It's like a midweek, mid-game, mid-year bowl game, but we all look forward to it. It is phenomenal, and so this is an entire week, an episode nearly every day. And I got two of my favorite people here, Hardball Hardge, one of the OGs. Bob Ballou's an honorary OG of Stories Inside the Man Cave, the sports director at KEYE, the CBS affiliate here in Austin. You just brought it up, Bob, that 49-0, and Sark said something, feed your focus. And we'll start with you, Bob, because I mentioned your name 3 times. Bobby Stoops. Feed your focus. How do you interpret that? Because the team, this game, for people who have never been, or the 99.9% of the people who have never played in it, it's a little different than most games.
I just take that to mean you take your focus and you give it food. And you put it in your tummy. And you get a good night's sleep. I loved – actually, that was one of my favorite lines. That was one of my favorite lines from Sark this week. But what I think is interesting about it, when it comes to focus, like – for all the concerns that I think you can come up with for Texas this week, focus is not one of them. And I only say that because we've yet to see them lack focus. We've yet to see them overlook a team or be like they just get to the third and fourth quarter and just run teams over. And that's it. And there hadn't been much to it. You know, last week people were asking, is there concern that you're going to worry about next week? And everybody's like, Kansas is 4-0. I mean, if they were playing somebody bad, maybe, but like Kansas is 4-0 and ranked, and like they've got our attention. Obviously, Jalen Daniels didn't play, but I like that. That's the message from Sark. I just and I like that he's still drilling his team with that. I just don't know that that's an issue this week. I don't think focus is not going to be the issue this week. I think it's going to be that OU lost last year 49-0 and is a better team than what people are probably giving them credit for, even though they're ranked 12th and 5-0. Yeah. I think they're probably a better team than what people are giving them credit for because they're thinking Texas is so good, and we remember what OU was last year. This is going to be a lot different on Saturday.
I agree with you 100%, Bob, and it's kind of funny because I brought that up today. I'm like, guys, I remember my biggest quote after Alabama game was, this is going to be Sark's hardest week of coaching when they were getting ready to play Wyoming, because everybody was telling them how great they were. The nation, they beat Alabama. They went in and captured Nick Saban. But this week, I'm with you. It's like, no, this is one of his easiest weeks to coach because they are going to be so focused on the task at hand because the bigger picture is still in front of them. I kept thinking to myself too, across the river was those dudes are pissed off. Those dudes know that y'all put it up 49-0. And Brent Venables' easiest coaching week is going to be this week because of the simple fact that they got beat down last year at this time. So for me, I'm looking at it, and I was glad that Sark said that because that, like you, I thought that was an outstanding quote. I didn't know where to go with it, strictly because of the fact it was something that was very unique to my thought process. But I was really sitting there thinking, everybody knows what's at stake. This is a perfect time. This is the perfect storm for both teams. They went through hell after last season. Texas was growing. They were getting momentum. We were very critical of the moves all through the season. We were very critical of the bowl game. But then we get to the point of this season, and each game is a different story. This is the biggest story of it all because everybody knows what's at stake. Everybody. The nation is there for it.
And think about this, too. I like going back to this. I don't really – 2011 and 2012 were both blowouts, but those Texas teams weren't great.
Yep.
Go back to 2000 and 2003. In 2000, OU beat Texas 63-14, and in 2003 beat them 65-13. But look at the next year. 01 was the 14-3 game, but it was 7-3 late.
Yeah.
04 was the 12-0 game. So, like, you take on a different mentality. I know they're different teams and different whatever, but, like, when you get blown out like that in a game like this, you come back the next year fired up and ready to go, short of the other team's just way better and you're just not very good.
Right.
You come back with a vengeance the next year, and I feel like OU's that good, and they'll come back this year with vengeance.
Yeah, the thing that a lot of people what they love about this game, even if you're watching it at home, this is a very streaky rivalry. And that graphic that we popped up here at the beginning, Texas's overall lead has diminished to 13 games because OU is 16-7 in this game in this current century. But it's like we go back to Charlie Strong, and even you can argue Mac Brown's last year. The best team doesn't always win this game. It's all this momentum. But I will say to each of you guys, you brought up a good point how Brent Venables is developing this program, but he realizes what's going on here in Austin. I mean, he realizes how good this team is and what it could potentially be. And this is funny. So Mike Houck, the SID at OU, obviously SIDs bring the head coach the stats of who they're playing that week. This was hilarious. I want to know, I cannot wait to hear your feedback on what you think this was by Brent Venables.
I was convinced that everything was going to be just fine, and we got all these all-star stats here that I had to read over on my way over here. Appreciate that, Mike. But these guys are home run hitters, man. They're the real deal. Excellent players. They're going to play the game a long time. And our guys are excited about the challenge. It's going to be a real challenge. But these guys are really, really good, and they're well coached.
Deflecting, or was you think Brent was being genuine about what he sees about Texas?
For the people that I talk to, Sean, and you know it too because you covered that area for a very long time, Brent Venables is a very genuine guy. Right. I don't think a lot of people give him enough credit for being honest and open. And I know sometimes it can seem kind of, cartoonish would be part of it, but that's just because of the simple fact that people don't understand who different people are, right? That guy's a very genuine person. And for him to literally look at it, because there are things that we've looked at and we're like, is that real? Like the way that Texas has performed this year. And I had a guy on my show today, and you guys know Kobe Daniels as well. Kobe he told me today, he was like, guys, I truly am looking at this team and I don't see a weakness. They haven't even scratched the surface as an offense. Defensively, we've seen some positive things. We've seen some negative things. The big play has been given up. And, it's always that concern. But it's almost like that bend but don't break type of defense. But on offense, we still haven't seen them hit on all cylinders. We saw a glimpse of it last week. It was fun. It was one of those games. It was against a ranked team. But this game, forget all of that. Forget every bit of that. Things change when these two teams get together at the Cotton Bowl. It doesn't matter. They can both be 0-5 coming into this thing. But this is something that we're all showing up to. This is something that we can't wait to be a part of. And I think he was being very genuine when he looked at it, saw the 200 yards rushing. I brought up the stat the other day, and I'm sure you saw it too, Bob. This was the first game that they had a 200-yard rush, 300-yard passer, 200-yard rusher, and a 100-yard receiver since 1999. That to me, I was like, think about all the people that have been playing throughout this time. And for that to happen, I was like, damn, that's cool. But he saw it too and was like, what? They're putting up cartoon numbers.
Now I'm trying to think of who that was. Was it Major, Hodges, and Kwame?
Wayne McGarity.
Oh, Wayne.
Nope. It was Major, Hodges, and Montrell Flowers.
Oh, Montrell. That's a good one.
Yeah, he had 111 yards receiving.
That's a good one.
Montrell. Yeah, that's what I was like, wow. I didn't realize it either.
I would say, I like, to Mike's point, Brent's very genuine, and I think when he saw that sheet, I do think, I mean, he knew probably a lot of it. He does play a little, tries to play to the crowd a little bit on that stuff, which is fine. I think he was trying to make a point that, like, these guys are really good. And then I don't know if you saw this, the next thing he talked about, he said, this is the first week y'all are going to ask questions about our opponent.
He did.
Which I thought was funny. And he kind of is making the point that this Texas team is really good, and I think we all know that. He brought 4 players to availability this week. 4. And that's it. And the Oklahoma media questioned him on it. They said, why only 4 players? And he said, basically, the media is going to try to go with a gotcha thing. Yeah. And I think what he is trying to do is we've got all the momentum or revenge or whatever you want to call it in the locker room that we need. We don't need to give Texas anything. Correct. We don't need to give them a reason to be pissed off. And we're pissed off. And so, he brings out 4 veteran guys that aren't going to say anything. Texas, to its credit, I think brought out 6 or 7 on Monday. And the normal guys, Quinn, Jade, Xavier, Jalen Ford, Christian Jones. But they didn't bring anybody that was going to say something that would upset Oklahoma either. So they're bringing veteran guys. It's smart. I wish we were talking to Rashad Bobineau popping off about everything like he does, but
Brenton Hager.
That's not the way that works. But I do think that's something Brent really went into this week thinking, I've got all the stuff I need for that side of things. We don't need to give Texas anything to be upset about. Let's just make this simple. We'll come in and do our 4 players. I'll say my stuff, and we'll get out and be done.
Well, he's smart. And I really, if there's one thing that I wish, but we're in the age of I want something right now. I want success immediately. I wish the OU fan base would stand back, let Brent do his thing, because people really don't realize what Lincoln Riley did to that program by leaving how he did. I mean, and that 49-0 win, not take anything away from Texas. They didn't have a quarterback last year.
I mean, 49, that doesn't happen if Dillon Gabriel plays last year. There's no question. I mean,
Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Bob.
And listen, if y'all remember sitting there watching it go down, you're saying to yourself, Texas is going to absolutely boat race Oklahoma today.
Easily.
But because of what happened in 21, when they went up 21-0, everybody's going, I don't know, but last year they were – and I'm like, guys – they don't have a quarterback. Like they're not gonna. There's no.
They got a tight end playing quarterback.
Tight end playing quarterback. Like what are you doing? And so I think there's a lot of, and I've said this week. I think there's a lot of PTSD with Texas fans in every way because of the last 13 years. When's the other shoe going to drop? Mm-hmm. When Alabama scored to go up 16-13 on Texas late in the third, I promise you, every Texas fan went, well, here we go.
There we go.
Want to lead, whatever. And then they score in a minute 5. He hits A.D. Mitchell for it blows up immediately, and you go, okay, maybe this is a little different. Then they play 3 backup quarterbacks. Everybody wants to talk about. They play 3 backup quarterbacks, and they win all those games by 4 touchdowns. In the past, when they played a backup quarterback, they'd lose or they'd win by 4. Or so like that to me is some of the shift that you see on some of those fronts. Is like they're taking care of business when they have an opportunity to take care of business.
Right, and that's go ahead, Cards. I'm sorry, I almost
No,
interrupted.
but well, I was about to say both of you guys have covered this team for a very long time, so you've seen it. You felt the shoe drop, and that is probably why they've had the PTSD. But I am like you, Bob. I've been looking at this and trying to match up. I know Dillon Gabriel doesn't play defense. I totally get that. But he's a competitive son of a gun, and he would not have been able to sit on that sideline last year and watch that. Remember, if you all remember, he was warming up before the game.
Yeah.
Like he was on the field trying everything in his power to get in that game. They just didn't let him play. And now he's come back. He's healthy. He even made the comment, y'all know what's next after his game against Iowa State. And, of course, Texas fans were like, you see him talking trash? And I'm like, no, man, who knows what's on it, man? He missed last year. I'd be pissed off if he didn't talk and say some things like that because that guy was on the sideline and watching his team get destroyed by Texas. So I've been saying it the whole time. A lot of people haven't been giving this guy credit. It's a tough son of a gun. He's going to be in the game, and he's going to be ready to go. And I guarantee you they won't be shut out. But I don't think that they can win the game just because of what we've seen. I don't think the shoe is going to drop on us. But that dude is talented. You just put the numbers up, Sean. The dude got game, and I think Texas fans need to truly understand that I don't care who they played thus far. The dude is talented.
And leave that there for a second, Sean, because I want everybody to see something on this. Completion percentage is off the charts. Passing yards, great. TD interception ratio is fine. I think the 95 yards rushing is almost underestimating what he can do running the football. Mm-hmm. I think that's going to be a absolute key. For as much as everybody says, well, Jalen Milroe and Jalen Daniels, and you're worried about how you're going to contain those two guys and whatever. To me, Dillon has a little bit of the Quinn, a little bit of what Colt was able to do at times. Maybe not as good as Colt was, but what Quinn's been able to do, he can run the football, and they're going to have to contain him on that front. I worry about the deep ball with this team. I think if Jalen Daniels plays last week, not that I think Kansas wins, it's a different game. They had receivers running free.
Oh my God, yes.
Early on that Jason Bean missed, and
Yep.
and they haven't faced that yet. They haven't faced a quarterback. I mean, JT Daniels, but they're not good enough. They haven't faced a quarterback that can do these type of things. I think the deep ball is going to be a huge, huge part of Saturday and how Texas can defend that. And then just kind of – because Oklahoma, from what I've seen, Oklahoma can't really run the ball. They've got some young, talented running backs that they aren't using, and they've got some older running backs they're using that aren't getting it done. So short of them putting a freshman, which you never know in this game, they could put a freshman in that could do some stuff. But I just think to me, that's going to be the biggest thing to watch on Saturday.
Well, speaking of defending him, David Gbenda, who's been a pleasant surprise at linebacker, he just broke it down about watching Dillon Gabriel on film.
What impresses me the most about him is his leadership ability to come into Brent Venables' system and just sort of take sort of the leadership role. And what I've seen from him is a very poised passer, and he's able to run when he needs to, but he's just been very impressive with his passing ability and just his leadership ability to make things go on that offense.
Everything you guys both said, and I'm with you guys both. If I'm a Texas fan right now or Texas, that guy's ability, Dillon Gabriel, to use his feet. I mean, he's definitely, I wouldn't say elite speed, but he's more than capable.
Well, I don't think it's more about the elite speed, because we don't need, as a quarterback, you don't need to be the home run hitter. What you need to be is somebody that can extend drives. You need to be that guy that makes other defensive control themselves as they're coming in, because you can blitz and you get a guy, they're going man to man and everybody's turning and running. He'll get a chance to get the ball upfield. And like I said before, this offense that he's in, he's been playing in it for a long time. Jeff Levy has been his coach when he was at UCF. He's been a part of understanding where the spots are in the defense, the reads that he needs to make leading up to this. And again, I just wish that people would not discredit what they've seen because of the opponent and go back and watch this guy's career. He's a very talented quarterback that can make plays. And for anybody that continues to dismiss him, it can hurt you. It can definitely hurt you.
I think it'll be interesting to see if he has time in the pocket to throw the ball. He's the guy that can keep the defense honest. That's the biggest thing that I think you see with Dillon Gabriel. I think they're going to come out. They're going to run a lot of short stuff to the perimeter. They're going to try to run wide because their interior offensive line is not very good.
No,
they have not been good at all this year. And when you match up three guys on the interior going against Byron Murphy and Tavondre Sweat, you got to find ways around it. So they're going to do everything they can to not do anything up the middle of the field and try to stretch everything wide and see if Texas can contain it. But I just think that's, not being able to run the ball and not having an interior line is I feel like probably a big part of football. You might want to have those things. And when you don't have those things, we'll see how Texas tries to exploit that, knowing that Oklahoma is going to be trying to press the perimeter. Can they force things back inside? We'll see how that goes Saturday.
Well, you're right. And that's, again, we're going to see it. This is one of those games. We're going to see things that we have not seen all year from both sides. This is what's so fun about it.
That is the best part. You're right.
And it's even if you're not going, a great place to go here in Austin is Dirty Martin's. 97 years of history there. Great place to watch a football game. And we're going to take a break and learn more about Dirties for 45 seconds. And on the other side, we'll break it down, some of our favorite plays and what it's like to run out of the tunnel at the Cotton Bowl. We'll see you on the other side. 97 years of good times, comfort food, and familiar faces. Dirty Martin's Place is a true Austin original, just like yours truly. An ideal marriage with stories inside the Man Cave podcast. It's like taking a step back in time. Old Austin. And the food? So good. Those classic burgers, the wings are severely underrated, those delicious shakes, and be sure to ask if they will ever bring back the Fruity Pebbles shake. Trust me on that. And those cold, refreshing adult beverages. You'll love it, plus you'll be entertained by these Dirties legends. Tell Daniel and the Dirties crew you love stories inside the Man Cave podcast and you want to keep Austin dirty. And be sure to sign the petition to say no to Project Connect. Dirty Martin's, where they've got the burger flipping tricks since 1926. And that is one of the coolest videos because all of us have experienced that. When you run out of that tunnel, people who have not been to that game, it's I don't know, a lot of Texas fans say, I wish we would have our fans or the Texas fans on that end zone where the tunnel is. I think it's amazing because you get the hate out of you immediately. old ladies flipping you off, F-bombs galore, everybody, and then you just run, and that pitch changes to all burnt orange. It's a beautiful sight.
I've got so many things to get into with this because I just think there's nothing like it. I remember in 2007 when I covered this team. Well, no, I take that back. It actually would have been before that because I was in San Antonio, 2005 that year, and I got to come out of the tunnel, and I just remember thinking like, just even walking down this thing is amazing, and I will never forgive Mac for getting the black tarp put up because the best part of that was always that all the OU fans could say anything they wanted, throw food and beer on the players and like get after them right off the start. But that video probably does it more justice than anything I've ever seen because you can hear it. Mm-hmm. You can hear this booze rain down. And then all of a sudden you start hearing, give 'em hell, OU sucks. Cross midfield, they're playing the fight song, hey orange, hey white, hey Longhorns, fight. But you can hear, and like then you get on the other side, and that's all you hear. And there is, I don't know that people try to compare it to something else in another sport or something else somewhere else. There is nothing, not even Florida, Georgia. There is nothing like this game. There is nothing like that run out of the tunnel. There is nothing split the way this splits. It is the coolest thing that you will ever come across in college football for sure, possibly in all of sports, because you can make your comparisons to whatever you want, walking inside the Yankee Stadium or going to Augusta or whatever it is, the Rose Bowl. But there's nothing like this. And that's why I think every year on this week, I get so excited for a lot of reasons. Probably most importantly, I get to see my parents and we go down and have 2 corny dogs and a beer before the game every single year. And we've done it for 30 years now. 30 would make not when I was 15, but I was honestly.
You were there. You just didn't have the beer, Bob.
I was right. Yeah, I think I've missed maybe 5 Texas OU games since 1984, maybe. And so every year we'd go down. I would go down with my parents and all their friends, and we'd all go to Fletcher's and have corny dogs and stuff. And so I think you build family traditions too, and that's another part of this that. All those things live with you for the rest of your life, whether you're a player or a coach or a fan or whatever it is, all of those things live with you for the rest of your life. And if you can go once or 100 times, you're going to feel it every time you go.
Well, I'm going to tell you this. There's only 2 sounds that are so unique that can never be replicated. Number 1 is you putting a ball into the hole and the sound of a golf ball going into that hole. It can never be replicated. And walking through that stadium because of the way that the sounds can be changed and they all sound the same, depending on it. Because when you go back and you watch that video and you see Quinn running through that, you're hearing it and you said it. It's like, oh, F you suck. And oh, you are my favorite player. It just happens so uniquely that it is something that can never be replicated. And I agree with you. We've been to all types of events. We've been to World Series. We've been to concerts. We've been to all these things. But nothing can beat the Cotton Bowl, the atmosphere, and everything where the 50-yard lines divide everybody. You got OU fans sitting in the Texas section. You got Texas fans sitting in the OU section. I mean, it is the most unique experience. And, Bob, you just talked about it. The times that you have outside of the stadium with your families, it can never be duplicated. And those are 2 of those sounds that will never, ever be duplicated. A putt going in and freaking running out of that tunnel to be booed and cheered at the same time.
It has evolved over the years, including the tarp that Bob referenced.
That's hilarious to me.
It is. I think if anyone's watching or listening to this, you get there about 8:00. 8:30 in the morning. And I know for some of you, it may be tough because you may be hungover from Friday night, but
that's why they get there at 6.
Yeah.
And by the way, hey, Sean, here's the thing. If you're hungover at 7, you're going to be hungover at 8, so you might as well.
Well, yeah, 1 hour. 1 hour, yeah. You get the hydration, you get the electrolytes before you go out Friday night.
It's just like these teams. You're not going to win the game going in Saturday and getting your emotions hyped up. You got to get your emotions started on Monday, prepare the right way all week. You got to start drinking water on Monday and electrolytes on Monday. You got to drink water and electrolytes all week and get yourself prepared for Friday and Saturday.
Start now. So the best part, get there at 8:30 latest. Watch the buses come through.
Mm-hmm.
It used to be the cops didn't really have barricades, and the most passionate fans always who took it really serious were those OU fans walking up to the Texas bus and shaking it. And I remember Bob Stoops had an interview when we were up there. He looked over and he said there was a
you gotta do the voice. If you're gonna do it, you gotta do the voice.
Go. God, I've never been. He said something to the effect of, I saw this 72-year-old lady. She gave me the universal #1 hand sign and a corn dog in the other. shaking my bus. And
okay, now can we discuss it? Can we do this?
Come on, do it. I want to hear it.
When do we think the made-up story of the grandmother flipping off the bus started? Did it start with Darryl Royal? Did it start with Barry Switzer? Who said it first?
1978.
Passed it on to the next coach, who then
I thought it was Schnellenberger. His 1 year.
They never actually saw it. Nobody's ever seen that. Nobody's seen the 3-year-old flipping them off either. It's never happened. But I love the idea that every coach that comes through here is like, oh, yeah, last year driving the bus through, and a 127-year-old woman had a corny dog and
had a corny dog and a beer.
It's called folklore, folks. It's called folklore.
Folklore. It's a legend. The tall tale of the old lady flipping off.
I love it.
Hey, I put out a tweet earlier, and everybody's doing it, but
tweeting.
Everybody we're Xing. It's really hard, and I love it because everyone has a different favorite moment or favorite 5 moments because it's a huge sample set. And different things appeal to different people. I went a little balanced on this list right here. Favorite Red River Rivalry moments. And
first off, I don't need you talking to me like Elmer Fudd. It's called the Red River Shootout, bro.
Red River Rivalry.
That's it.
Sean, this goes like looking at your list kind of goes to like this idea that you can actually have favorite moments on both sides. And I don't think it works that way.
It does not work that way, bro.
I think you can say, I love that moment when Roy Williams had this Superman, but I also return. Like don't you have to pick one side or the other here? I know you've covered both. I get it.
I think it's because I have a balanced view.
That's the only reason why we're giving him grace. But other than that, man, kiss my ass, bro.
It's a rivalry.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you mine. I'm just going to tell you mine. I have one, and it was Quan Cosby decleating on the what's his name? Lindy Holmes.
Yeah.
Lindy Holmes. Quan told me this as a fact. He said every time Lindy Holmes sees him at that golf tournament, he will not speak to him. That is the best moment. Yes, Jamal Charles. Yes, Rod Wright. Yes, Jordan Shipley. But the epitome of this rivalry is watching somebody get decleated on a block that is now illegal. That cannot happen. So Quan Cosby knocking him out. That's my favorite.
I did see somebody respond to you and say the reason he doesn't say hi to him is because his eyes are crossed and he can't remember who he is. He's still hurting him. I thought that was great. I thought that was really good. I'll give you mine. I think, everybody probably remembers different things for different reasons. The 4 overtime game, for whatever reason, just didn't. It was amazing, but it just didn't. I think because there was no crowd, maybe it was like. You're kind of like this is awesome, but like it's not a full stadium. Like this makes it hard.
Yeah, I was already back at the crib, by the way.
Yeah. I think the Cameron Dicker field goal after Kyler made the comeback was pretty special. I think it's made even more special hearing Gus Johnson call earthquake.
Yep.
Red River mortality.
Yeah, like that stuff was great. My top three, I would say, are 2008, and I could give you 15 different things from that game that I remember because there were so many moments. Obaniah's run down the sideline, Roy Miller dropping the pass in the end zone was one that I've always said he'll never live down, but it will always be kind of funny, like watching it from a different angle. Obviously, the decleater. A lot of people don't remember on the 2-point conversion, they threw a pass and it went straight up in the air, and there's nobody around Quan Cosby, which how could you not cover Quan Cosby? But the ball just hung up in the air for like 10 seconds, and then it finally came down. He caught that for the 2-point conversion. There were so many moments in that game, I think, that made it special. I would probably want to include 05 in there because that was my first game covering Texas OU, and I got it was their first win in since 99. And it was a moment where I got to be down on the field watching them celebrate. And it was kind of like in my head, I was trying to really process it. But the two that I would go back to, Stoney Clark will always live in infamy with me. What an unbelievable that game doesn't come down to a final play pretty much ever. And there are very few of those. And I think Stoney's is amazing. My number one, though, was 1989. I was 11, and I was sitting in the end zone with my godmother when Johnny Walker made the catch from Peter Garcia to start the run of 4 straight wins. And I say that because, number one, I remember the feeling even being in that end zone and how incredible it was. To that point when, like I said, I started going to these games in 84, 85. Oklahoma just killed Texas every year. I mean, that was when they were number one and Texas was terrible. And, it was 44-9. It was every year it's just an OU win. And I think that was really my first moment understanding in that game that you really can throw the records out the window. Nothing matters. It just comes down to how you play. And to see that play and to always have that live with me. And then when I got to Austin, I started going on the radio in San Antonio and with Johnny Walker. And it became this really cool, oh my gosh, moment for me where I was this was a defining moment of sports in my childhood.
Right.
And now I get to hang out with you and be on the radio with you and talk to you every week and do all these Longhorn stuff. And you're listening to my opinion, my opinion means anything. And so it was really cool. And it fluctuates just because the stadium's changed. We don't get to go down on the field now. We don't get to do some of the things we got to do, but it's always special no matter where you are in that stadium watching that game.
It's funny that you bring that about Johnny Walker. Johnny Walker, and for those that don't know, that year, 1990, he was drafted by the Atlanta Braves.
Is that right?
He was a teammate of Chipper Jones. So me and Johnny were at rookie ball together. And I remember because I had signed with Texas and I was trying to figure out, because he didn't even play on the baseball team at Texas. He was on the team, didn't get a lot of games, but I would go to batting practice and he was hitting balls an absolute country mile. And I'm like, is this dude about to, don't you play wide receiver, bro? And he was like, yeah. But I also run the bases, and I can hit a ball a long way. So yeah, that's a great memory. And J-Dub is still one of my good friends.
He's awesome.
And he played on with Kurt Dressendorfer. And
yep.
I mean, it was funny. That was a run of years. You had Johnny Walker, Donovan Forbes, Shea Morenz all played baseball and football.
Yep.
You don't see that very often.
Not anymore. Not anymore.
Hey, we were going to talk about the Cowboys. We're going to keep this all Red River Rivalry. And the only way to wrap this up is how do we think this is going to end? I'll just start, and then we'll work our way around to Hardge, and then we'll end with our favorite VIP, that being Ballou.
Bobby B, baby.
I do think Texas gives up more than their defensive average points. think we're probably
they better score more than Oklahoma's given up.
Yeah. I'm going to take Texas. I think Quinn does throw another interception, but I think he has 3 touchdowns in this game passing. I say Texas wins 30-20.
That's not bad. Oh, here's the deal. Oklahoma is a good football team. I think Dillon Gabriel is a good quarterback. I think he's going to will his team to be very competitive. But when you look at man for man and player for player, Texas just has way too much on this team.
Yep.
This is probably the most excited I've been to watch this game, to the point that I'm actually going to Dallas. I'm actually excited about spending all the time up there and enjoying it. I want the people to hate on us. I want all of that stuff to happen. I just think that right now, for what Texas has been building, I think the focus, we talked about this at the very beginning of the show, the focus of this team is unlike anything that we've seen in a very, very long time. They are truly taking it one game at a time. And from what we've seen with the ground control of the game, the defense flying to the ball, where you see all 11 guys on the film every single week, that is something that is inherited now. And for those guys that came back, like the Jalen Fords and the Jordan Whittingtons and the guys that have seen the 5 and 7 seasons, they know what it's all about. I don't think Texas blows them out, but I think Texas covers the 6.5 and maybe even make it 14. And I think this is going to be one of those games that late Texas pulls away. So I'm all in on the Longhorns. I just see it that way.
That's fair.
I would say that I like that a lot. I would say this is the first week that I don't have a real good feel. I feel like, I said Baylor would be, 37-10. It was 38-6. I said they'd beat Alabama by double digits. They did. I feel like I've had a really good feel. The biggest thing that I like saying it this way. The biggest thing I think is that Oklahoma's going to come out of the gate strong and probably take a lead. It might be 14-0. There's something weird that's going to kind of happen early. But I think Texas will win this game. But what I think is going to be interesting about it is if they have to meet again in December in Arlington, we'll see a much different Oklahoma team. And I think Oklahoma is going to be much better in December. Not to say Texas won't be, but I just think if Oklahoma is going to beat Texas this year, I like their chances of doing it in December more than I do in October. Texas is going to score a number in the 30s because that's pretty much what they do every game. Somewhere between, it's got to be like a 31-40, somewhere in that number that they haven't already scored. So that's the big thing this year. They're going to just keep scoring different numbers. So I'm going to go 33-23, but I might change that by the time we get there. I'm just not real comfortable with anything right now. I don't know what. I think Oklahoma's just better than what we give them credit for and what everybody's giving them credit for. This game, for a while, I've thought 31-30. I think this could be the hold your breath moment in the fourth quarter is a real thing. And I think this will be a game in the fourth quarter. And I think Texas will find a way to make a play to win the game. But this is going to be tight. And I think it's going to be tight with good reason. It'd be fun if I was wrong. And we got to see another blowout. And this is what
I was going to say, I hope you're wrong in a Texas way. I could just see this going a lot of ways, but in the end, it's going to go Texas' way. But I will say, if they meet again in December, I just think that could be and I'm not saying a different result, but just Oklahoma's going to be a lot better by the time we get to December, whatever is first or second. Agree.
No, I agree with that. But I really think everybody needs to prepare to be very uncomfortable going into the fourth quarter.
That's a great way to put that. Yeah, I like that.
I like it.
And that's good for the the network. That's good for the people in Dallas. They want to keep those people in the seats and watching from at home or wherever you may be, because this and the SEC commissioner is going to be there. Big 12 commissioner will not be there. That's all good. Okay,
I'm not for sure he'd be there.
Well, I'm going to look for you two in Dallas. It's going to be my fourth one as a fan. It's pretty cool.
Enjoy it, bro, because it's going to be a blast.
It's going to be a lot of fun, man. And God, I don't know how many I've been to. I can't keep up with Bobby's number.
Bobby.
But,
I will give you one more of my favorite moments ever. It was whatever year they came out with, the Oklahoma fans came out with the I Love Bob for Bob Stoops, I Love Bob t-shirts. And I was going up to every one of them and being like, can I get a picture with you? And they'd be like, I love Bob. Oh, you love
I love it. I love it.
And now they have the Bud, Barry, and Bob shirts. Bud Wilkinson, Barry Switzer, and, of course, Bob Stoops. And some of them are including – they did have Lincoln on there. For some reason, he's not.
Oh, there's some haters.
But Brent, it's another B. Brent's another B in the long line of good B coaches there.
Yeah, it'd fit right in. It's more than alliteration. Bobby Ballou, watch KEYE Sports. Follow him on Twitter. He's a fine American. He's a hell of a storyteller, and he's really good at golf.
And he's great at karaoke.
Yeah, that's a hidden talent. Well, I don't know if it's hidden.
Karaoke, greater sign golf.
Yeah, it is. I love it.
Sign golf. Don't ever take snapshots in a New Orleans hotel room of him getting ready for the evening.
I'm just glad you're not ready to throw that picture up, because that'd be even worse.
Oh, you know he's got it.
Hey,
he's got it.
I've got it in my exclusive folder.
I like it.
Oh, my God. Those were great socks, by the way.
Stories outside the man cave that don't need to be in the man cave.
That's right.
Before we go, I do want to say this. I will give my man Bob Ballou 1,000% credit. When we go to spring training together, I lose my wallet. I lose everything. I lose my life on that trip. And Bob was like, hey, man, you need some money? And I was like, ain't nothing around this place gonna take cash. But he said, but I had your back, dog. I had your back.
You know more than anything. I've got your back. We've had some good spring training stories too, because we went to Florida with the Astros in 2016.
Yes.
And we roomed together there.
Yep.
And then went to Phoenix or whatever, Scottsdale, Surprise.
Yep.
And got to cover the Rangers there too. You always come up with a story, right? There's always something.
Exactly. We always
stories from New Orleans with Clynch. I mean, it never ends.
Stories from West Palm Beach when I got named a Palm Beach harasser.
The PBH, Palm Beach harasser. Instead, we just kept saying PBH for Pretty Boy Hardge. That was
Pretty Boy Hardge.
And then our man Chris Alvarez called me the Palm Beach harasser.
PBH is not Pretty Boy Hardge. It's the Palm Beach harasser.
Oh, my God. That's beautiful. Hey, and shout out to Jim Saxton State Farm Insurance Agency. He's been insuring Austin for decades, following his late great father, the former Heisman finalist, as a Texas Longhorn running back. And, of course, Honest AC and Plumbing, where a handshake still means something. For the Bob Ballou, the pride of Richardson, right?
I actually grew up in the Dallas city limits. I went to J.J. Pierce High School in Richardson.
Pierce.
There you go. Pierce.
Pierce.
The guy was a baller. He had hops. There's video circulating up there.
And he's a graduate of the 5-0 Missouri Tigers right now.
MIZ.
Yeah.
COU. Right.
I wasn't going to let you walk off like that, bro. I wasn't going to let you drop the mic.
Walk it out. Hey, for Bob Ballou and the OG Man Cave boys, that being that guy right there, Hardball Hardge, Coach Mo, and Big Mike. PBH, Pretty Boy Hardge, how do we get out of this thing?
Take a damn nap!